Afternoon, everybody. It's a dog with you on a Monday, the 5th of November. Where is the year gone by? Almost Thanksgiving in a couple of weeks. And then Santa Claus. Well, welcome on a Monday. A couple of my old pals, I say that lightly because they're police officers and I want to keep on the good side of them. Lieutenant Tim Snyder, my friend, is in the studio along with the Chief of Police, Stu Peenstra. They're going to be talking about the police department. I'll be asking them some probably dumb questions, and I'm sure they'll give us smart answers. Hey, by the way, before I take the break and play our opening, are you guys going crazy out there in TV land that regarding political ads? Are you like me that maybe want to go to HBO, Cinemax, or Showtime? I don't know about you, but I'd throw a brick through my TV set if I didn't spend a whole lot of money on it. So I am so tired of it. Tomorrow, maybe after tomorrow, we'll get a break with these constant ads. Getting calls at 5 o'clock. Vote for me. I am Harold Weber, and I approve this message. Welcome to Weber This Week. Well, a pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all having a good afternoon. It's good to be alongside of you, the dog with you on another Monday. We got a couple of my pals in town or in the house today to talk about what they're doing regarding the police department. It's great to have Stu back. Stu, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, dog. Good to be here.
And Tim, as usual, always good to see you.
Thanks, dog.
Well, let's talk about the police. We haven't had you guys on quite a while, and we're not trying to boycott you guys from coming on. It's just that
That's not what I heard.
It's been a busy summer, but it's good to get you back on. Let's talk, Stu, about the police department as a whole. How's it going right now? Everybody seems to be cracking up, and everybody's doing a good job, I'm assuming?
Yeah, we got
things are going good?
It is. So we've had a few officers leave to a couple different departments, but we've replaced those positions. We're still going strong with our 17 full-time officers. They're doing great things. They're responding to calls. They're making arrests where fitting. But the biggest thing is that we're there helping the public out. And as of recently, we've had a couple really nice life-saving awards, some ceremonies that have gone on. We're doing a lot of good things other than just going out and responding to calls,
right?
Which is a quality of life issue for us, and that's what we are. Our mission is to make sure that the quality of life in Seneca Falls is strong.
Well, you just talked about life-saving, and some time ago, of course, the individuals, I knew both of them that were saved by your officers, Tim, and one, of course, a good friend of mine, Bert Serling. Talk a little bit about what took place there and the conduct of your fellow colleagues that really saved the day, no pun indicated.
With Bert Serling, it was... the officers just happened to be in the right place at the right time when the call came out. They were less than 3 minutes from his house. They went inside, found him, and did what they're trained to do, and got a pulse back, and he's here today with us. Cheryl Malloy she's a friend of mine, actually. She used to live in my neighborhood when she first moved to town. And the same thing. She had an event at the school, and our officers responded, immediately kicked in with their training with the AD CPR, and again, after successful surgery, she's here with us today as well.
I don't think, Stu, you can put any value on the awareness of your officers that obviously are trained to take care of this in an emergency, and these obviously were major emergencies with a capital E. It's got to be a good, warm feeling on your heart that they were able to respond and able to save the lives of two of our people that we all know. And I guess that just portrays the fact that police officers, to become a police officer, you have to understand the training and understand and be able to do it and be able to react, and talk a little about the fact you can react as fast as you are because you are trained to do that, correct?
Yeah, well, that's just it. It takes a special person, obviously, to be a police officer, like it does anything else, any career that you choose. But for the officers to react in a quick fashion and then implement their training is important. So it does take a special person to actually get down there and do some of that work that isn't the most pleasant that most people or some people just couldn't do. So I think that's important. The other thing that's important is, Mrs. Serling stated that, before she even hung up the phone, the officers are coming up the stairs and knocking on her door. That type of response to me is incredible. It's those seconds, and it truly is those seconds when somebody stops breathing, that we can be there and start, deploying and our AEDs and conducting CPR. That's so important to saving a life, and it's very special, and still to this day, I'm the proudest award I've ever received with the department is a life-saving award, because you've changed the lives of that, not only that person but their entire family. Well,
piggybacking that comment, and I've known you since you came into town and took over your job. I've known Tim quite a few years. One thing that touched me before I was preparing to do the day's show was some time ago we had a tragic loss of a child, and I recall there was a news conference held and you spoke, and not because we're friends and not because I respect you and Tim and the rest of the people in the town, or we used to be a village, but it touched home with you because I could tell by your voice that it was cracking, and you certainly were caught up in it because you're a dad, obviously. Not to bring back those memories, but talk a little bit about what it was like to go through that experience. I know you don't want to go through it again, but talk a little bit about, especially with a little child involved.
Yeah, it was difficult on all of us, from everyone, from the fire personnel, ambulance personnel, the individuals that had the helicopter. It was a tough time. We worked long hours to make sure that investigation went the way we needed it to go. Tim and I were into it right from the get-go, and when you spend that much time and you're that into an investigation, it's hard not to have your emotions kind of play out. So it was difficult for me to speak on that, because you do think about your children and others, and then you start to worry about your own staff and what they've witnessed and seen, and the details that go into that investigation that you'll never forget and get out of your mind. So that was the most difficult case I've ever experienced in my career here, and hopefully the last time I have to deal with something like that, because that was tough.
And Tim, you certainly can echo Stu's point. You are trained as a police officer to probably look at every potential happening that may occur in your particular area that you control, like the town of Seneca Falls. But when something is dramatic and something as sad as that taking place with a young child, that has to put double the dose of concern and sadness that you have to go through and do your work and be a part of the scene, no pun indicated regarding a police scene, but the emotion of an officer has to be able to withstand that and go through what you normally do, A to Z, to make sure everything is dotted and everything is T's are crossed, and it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough. People don't realize that unless you obviously experience it.
It is tough. Most police officers will probably tell you through their career, the worst thing that they could have to deal with would be to do with children. Either in our case like this with the murder, or rolling up on a car accident where there's children involved. Working in a small community like this, we know everybody. So we're responding to these houses or these residents that we could have went to school with them. We know their parents. We know their grandparents. Could have been hanging out at their house after school at some point. Now, as an adult, I'm here doing CPR on somebody. So it's tough, and any police officer will tell you that through their career, children, that's the worst to deal with.
Stu, we talked and just gave you a brief idea of what I was going to ask you today. Respect. I think there's a song called Respect, but I think coming into having had you guys on for quite a while, as you see police officers engaging with citizens across the country, it's on the news every night. In our little town of Seneca Falls, do you see, since you've been here as the chief, do you see the respect from the citizens better, same as, or issues that you try to overcome? I know you I know you spend time with kids in school, and you have, when you have the fairs down, so you bring the police cars down there, show them what your cars are, and look at all the equipment you guys have available. My point is, I have Tim comment after you, but the respect that you think that you get, or that you believe you get from the citizens, is that improving in your mind, or is that something you really can't put a finger on?
I think it's improving.
Okay.
I think there's an upward climate in that. I think we've seen our lowest point. I think society will eventually find another entity to point the finger at. Mm-hmm. We took our turn on that. Mm-hmm. For some instances in the nation, maybe rightfully so. Not rightfully so to paint the broad stroke over all law enforcement, but there's officers that have done some things wrong that unfortunately reflect our entire profession. So we strive on small hometown police services. Mm-hmm. So we do things that other agencies don't do or won't do or have the time to do, for that matter. So we didn't see a big influx of, I think, what a city may experience towards law enforcement. I know when we have our events here, such as the Women's March and It's a Wonderful Life, we get nothing but praise and thanks, and it's enjoyable to work those events, because even though we might have anywhere between 7,000-8,000 to close to 15,000 people in town, they're all really good to us, and I don't have anything bad to say about that at all. I really feel like, but in general in the nation, I feel that there is that we're climbing again.
Tim, you've been here a long time as a not only a friend of mine, but like you say, everybody around here. The respect from your friends and so forth, and people that may not have been a friend of yours years ago because you may have given them a ticket or something. How does that, in your mind, feel? Do you feel like it's improving?
I do. It's definitely improving since Chief Peenstra's taken over. The community-oriented activity that we do has increased quite a bit. More of the officers in the office now are getting more involved with It's a Wonderful Life or Reading Week at the school. Every day is full for somebody to go up there and read to the kids. So yeah, we're definitely gaining on that.
That's good. Well, it's almost, and by the way, we should point out we have a young man engineering the show today, and he's kept us on the air, thank God. So we don't need Jimmy Senecrope anymore. So, Jimmy, if you're checking us out via your TV, you can just keep on driving right by. We got a new talent here, Zach. So, Zach, let's take our commercial break. It's on Weber This Week. Stu Peenstra along, Tim Snyder with me. We'll be back. Resort and Casino has something for everyone. 2,000 slot machines and 99 gaming tables. The Vine, featuring top national music and comedy acts. The dining options. The Great Portico by Fabio Viviani. The Farmers Market Buffet, the Social Cafe and Bar. And the 14,000 square foot European-style spa. Del Lago offers massages, body treatments, and facials, plus a full-service salon. Visit DelLagoResort.com for more information.
Cayuga Lake National Bank, offices in Union Springs and Aurora, a fine sponsor of this show for over 30 years. DA Liquor on Britt Street in Seneca Falls. Amy Padula and her team will find the right spirit for you every time. When you stop in, tell Amy the dog sent you. The Omen Theater on William Street in Lyons. See what's playing this week at omentheater.com. Located off New York State Thruway Exit 41, the McGee Diner has earned their reputation as a popular family restaurant, serving country, fresh, home-cooked meals daily. Stop in for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and check out their menu at mcgeediner.com. The Child Advocacy Center of the Finger Lakes is a child-friendly location where allegations of physical or sexual abuse are responded to by a multidisciplinary team of professionals. The team works together to conduct a thorough investigation and to provide necessary support services to children and their non-offending caregivers with a goal of minimizing further trauma to a child. Seneca Metals is an award-winning company that has earned a reputation of going above and beyond to protect the environment and support their community. As an EPA inspector once said, their operation is head and shoulders above the rest. And the Newark Pilots of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League, a minor league team with a major league ballpark. Season ticket packages available at NewarkPilots.com. And the Wilson Press in Seneca Falls. My good pal Rich Rickey and his team can handle all of your printing and mailing needs. Visit them online at wpress.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back with you. Stu Peenstra along with Tim Snyder from our wonderful police department here in the town of Seneca Falls. They haven't been on in a while, and Stu thinks I was boycotting, but not true. Even though he reminds me of the time I got a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt.
You remind me of that all the time.
But you smile when I tell you I got the ticket. That's the sad part.
There's a part of me that thinks that's kind of funny. But.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was the most expensive loaf of bread I ever got in my life. And by the way, that was cheaper than it is today. By the way, before we get to a couple of the notes, we'll get to Stu about the snow, where you can park coming up, right? It's underway now with the parking. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. By the way, speaking of Seneca Metals, they always have these great events out there. I want to remind everybody coming up, Nature Story Time with Martha the Reading Dog. That is not me, by the way. Your preschooler will love our nature story, and snack time with Ms. Tara and Martha the Reading Dog.
I want to see that.
Yes, I do. That's coming up at Seneca Metals Educational Center. That's on 1977 State Route 414 in Seneca Falls. It's coming up this Thursday, November the 8th from 10 to 11 a.m. All right, it's a free program type for preschoolers. All right, so that doesn't qualify me. Listen, before we get back to these fine police officers, I want to remind everybody, I hate to admit when I'm wrong, but when you're wrong about Syracuse and Dino Babers and picking on them like I have been the last couple of years, I have to send kudos and roses their way because Stu's going to the game on Friday night, right? It's Friday night?
Yep.
All right.
7 o'clock.
So anyways, I have always picked on Babers, never thought he was the choice at SU, but they're 7-2, and like both Tim and Stu have pointed out, they could very well be undefeated. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, but still it's a darn good record. 7-2, they got 3 left. By the way, they play Louisville this coming Friday. Stu's going to be there. You taking your child or family or what?
Yep, whole family's
going.
Yep.
Nice. Yep. Family affair. That'll be fun. So Louisville, just gave you a little twist of irony. I posted on my Facebook page that I thought was kind of weird and like, I don't think Stu's remembers Rod Serling, who, the old days. You remember Rod Serling, right? Mm-hmm. The crazy stuff. Sort of weird stuff happening. But I saw something take place over the weekend, and I don't know why my crazy mind thinks of these things. Lucas Glover, professional golfer, on Saturday in the golf tournament at Las Vegas, the PGA event at Las Vegas, the Shriners, on Saturday shot a 61. Why is that ironic? Well, kind of the same time, an hour or so after that, his alma mater, Clemson, was beating Louisville 77-16. The difference, 61. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, that's weird. 61 in a golf course. A couple hours later, his alma mater, Clemson, destroys Louisville by 61 points. Amazing. So I just thought I'd throw that in. By the way, congrats to all you SU fans. I got to eat crow and say, yep, I was wrong. They're going to have a great year. They could obviously finish 10-2 or maybe 9-2 if Notre Dame beats them. But yeah, their games are remaining left is Louisville this week. And then, of course, they play at Yankee Stadium, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, and then they end up a tough opponent. Always gives them trouble, Boston College away. So we got that taken care of. Back with Stu and Tim is we got about 10 minutes left in our program. Not obviously, thank God, it doesn't affect us too much in the town, and we don't have that serious of an issue, I don't think, in these You know, when you think of police officers, a lot has been said, and you mentioned across the country, police officers sometimes go past, which is considered things you should be doing. For example, I still think of a lot of police officers across the country, and you guys see it on TV like we all do, where an officer is in confrontation with a suspect, and all of a sudden shots are fired, and whether the police officer kills an individual or badly hurts an individual with a gun, the term of the officer stating fear of his life or her life. Talk a little bit about what you guys in your mind, what does that mean? Let me start with you, Stu. What does that mean? I mean, I know it seems simplistic, all right? You think you're not going to make it. You think you're going to get killed. So you have a fear and you therefore react. Could you explain maybe the rationale of what a police officer might be thinking?
Well, obviously the police officer is thinking that this individual, whoever that may be in front of them, acting the way that they're acting is going to cause harm to themselves.
Okay.
I think the pendulum has swung a little bit to where officers are now reluctant to act in that type of fashion because they don't want to make that fatal error of causing somebody's serious injury or death.
Right.
I think that you're going to see more officers getting hurt on the job or killed on the job because they're reluctant to react in that fashion, which isn't right either. But I mean, you're talking split-second decisions that cost somebody's life, and there's so many people out there with so many issues, mental health being one of them, that just causes so much fear or issues with law enforcement that we're dealing with on a everyday basis. Even here in the town, we deal with mental health issues consistently. People that could cause harm to you, whether they're really wanting to or not. So officers always have to be on guard on that and making split-second decisions sometimes. And I know Tim and I have both been in situations before where it could have easily gone the other way, even in such a small town as we have here. Fortunately, it didn't, but it certainly could. And you know, I just don't want to see officers losing their lives because they're taking a few extra seconds to make sure that's a gun, and by then the gun's on them and they're the ones getting shot. That's what concerns me about that.
And Tim, following up, a split-second decision has to be made by an officer. Tough decision, tough thing to do. You got to react. You got to look at the situation. But as Stu pointed out, you don't have a lot of time to make that call. No,
for the public, you know, they have to understand, you know, put themselves in our situation to, you know, walk in and handle a domestic. I mean, when you walk into somebody's house, you're actually taking control of that area and the people in it, and most people don't like that. So, split-second decisions are it's what we do. But to go off in that a little bit. When it hits the news, all you're seeing is, you know, the last 5 seconds of an incident. I always look at it as, you know, people just need to slow down, let the investigation play out, then make your decision or conclusion of what just took place. Don't always jump to that cell phone to say that the police officer was wrong.
And by the way, you both know there are some bad apples any job. Yep. Police officers included. Example, the police officer, and I use that term loosely, what he did in Chicago when that kid was on the bridge and he unloaded his gun, 16 shots. I mean, I never shot a gun in my life. Never been a police officer, never attempted to be one, but I'm thinking, 16 shots? I mean, really? I mean, unload the whole gun? I mean, the jury found him guilty and he's going to serve a lot of time in jail, but to me, unless he had a mental issue, that seems a little overdoing it.
Yeah, I mean, if we can slow things down, and that's not always the case, but if we can take a situation and just slow it down and play it out a little bit differently, that's our goal. Obviously, You know, in certain situations, that's not always
Sure.
available to us, but that's our way of trying to just get into a situation if it's going on and intense, is to just try to slow things down so then we can make a proper decision in what we're trying to process and do, because we're walking into a situation they might have been dealing with us for days or weeks or years, and we're trying to figure it out in 5 seconds. So it does make it difficult, but you know,
It's part of the job, right?
It is.
And I agree with Tim. You know, when you get video on ABC World Nightly News or Rochester News or Syracuse
You're
News,
catching
you
the
see
last 5 seconds.
maybe the last 30 seconds or 20 seconds of what transpired between an officer and an individual.
You didn't see what led up to that incident.
Exactly.
well, that's why I think it's important for officers to be wearing body cameras. Our department's been wearing them for years. We implemented them. Well, we started looking into in-dash cameras at the time, and found that they were very expensive. And right around that same time I was looking at those, they were talking about these officer-worn body cameras. So I was able to get, I think I started out with 1 or 2, and then found that, wow, these are really great. And then it was a big topic of conversation amongst police chiefs through New York State and the nation. We've been wearing them for years now, and we continue to wear them. And what we do is we have a policy set up where that body camera goes on before you even exit the car, and it doesn't shut off until you get back into the car. So we're going to see the whole picture as best as you can with the camera angle that's on an officer's chest. I mean, obviously it'd be great to have an in car dash camera to go with that body camera, but there's expense to that.
Sure.
So the best of that is to put it on the officer, so then that camera goes where that officer goes, and you see and hear the entire picture.
It's great. Well, look at guys, we're closing down in a couple minutes to go on the show. Talk a little bit about the snow removal and where you can park, Tim, and where you can't park. Some of those effects are going to go in soon, right? Or are they underway right now?
They're underway right now. November 1st, it went into
Okay.
effect. Usually for a week to a week and a half or two, maybe even 2 weeks, we'll issue warnings letting people know that it's here. After that, it is a parking ticket. Typical Fall Street is year-round anyways, but all side streets, roads, there's no parking. So.
Amazing. Well, guys, before I plug the next few guests, I want to thank you for spending time with us, and it's always good having you both in, updating us, and speaking for being a longtime resident of Seneca Falls, and my wife Mary and our family. We think you guys do a great job, and keep it going.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hey, by the way, before we sign off today, I'm going to run down a couple of our upcoming guests. We got a few scheduled for the next few weeks. Just run them quickly. If you want to throw a holiday party and you want to go to the Del Lago Resort and Casino, they got some great rooms out there and some great pricing structures. A gentleman who I met named Brad Zimmer, he's the sales director. He'll be in talking about what the casino can offer you for holiday events coming up on Thanksgiving and, of course, Christmas. And let's not forget New Year's Eve as well. He'll be in next week, Brad Zimmer, and we're staying on Del Lago the following week. The Vice President of Entertainment, who was on my show several months ago, Jason Klug, still bringing in a lot of the oldies but goodies. They had Jeff Foxworthy here the other night on Friday night. He did 2 shows. They were both sold out. They've had Larry the Cable Guy in twice. He's had 4 shows, all sold out. I mean, it holds 2,400, 2,500 people there, but bringing some of the old acts back, and people are still loving to go there. Jason Klug will be here with me on the 19th. Then the 26th, I was kind of chuckling about this show. It's going to be kind of fun. Now we got the debate, not only the Seneca Medals debate, now we got the debate. It never ends. There's so much excitement in the town of Seneca Falls.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I think it's exciting. Now I call it the Koch Building, but everybody calls it the Huntington Building, owned by Peter Koch. The controversy is starting to get going regarding should it get detonated, torn down, and let Circle K, who has made an offer to reconstruct and make a beautiful convenience store, huge one with a gas station, all the good stuff. Oh, or should we leave it historical? And unfortunately, according to what I've been reading, and I've been talking to a lot of people who know this stuff about construction, it's going to cost $1 zillion Okay, a lot of money to fix it. So we're going to debate. Emil Bovey will be here on the 26th taking the stance. And let's be honest, his wife is on the commission, I agree. But Emil will be here and I will be arguing the fact that it should go down, it should be torn down and reconstructed. Emil obviously will take the other side of the argument. And he asked to come on and debate. So I'm looking forward to that, Mr. Bovey, on the 26th. Then let's not forget a local guy that me and Tim know. Mike Wood, the son of good old Woody's, good old carpet cleaning. I just saw him on the way to do this show. He just got promoted. He's the manager of the Watertown Rapids of the Perfect Game Collegiate Baseball League. So he just got promoted.
Nice.
And by the way, he's a lot better athlete than the old man Woody. So listen, that's been fun. Thanks again to Stu and Tim. We appreciate them joining us here on a good old Monday. Take care, everybody, and thanks, Zach. You did a great job engineering. You can tell Jimmy he can find another part-time job. Speaking for Stu Peenstra, along with Tim Snyder, the dog. Take care, everybody.